Hello there, Site 42 staff as well as you from the greater SCP Foundation community. And welcome to another Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site 42. As always, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director of Site 42 as well as Head Containment Specialist. And as we have done now for nearly 7 months straight, the daily streak remains strong. I am here to office my open doors. No. I'm here to open my office doors to you, the Foundation staff, for the next 2 hours approximately, maybe a little less than that, kind of a busy day. But I have approximately 2 hours to answer your queries about the inner mysteries of this place in which we are employed, the SCP Foundation. So whether you have questions about the anomalies that we contain, the staff that contain them, the groups of interest who really are not keen on this whole containment thing, if I'm being honest, and of course, hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview. Perhaps they're from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom. I am here to answer your questions, but before we begin, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. First and foremost, legendary Doge Official. Thank you for being the #1 very most punctual SCP Foundation staff member in today's stream. Thank you for being our first chatter. Then, King of ADHD, Low-Key, Dr. Puppeteer, Toxic Fox, Blake, Chazior, James Darkfire, Amber, Goose, Lonely Echoing Void, that's Silent Follower. I'm sight reading, and so I said it before I thought. Chester Factory, Dr. Sean. Nope, do not reset on me now. Senior Researcher Alex, Billy the Go-Goat, Shiny Luxray, Nightingale, Dark Duality, Dr. Puppeteer. Everyone whomst I have just named, thank you for being here quite punctually at the beginning of stream, and thank you for being members of Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. Alongside you all, Eric, Galaxy Fishy, Doc Watson, Kitty Gams, and The Pancake. For you guys, thank you for being punctual. Thank you for being here just for being you. This new stream UI is a bit disorienting for me, but I think I'll get used to it in 1 to 3 weeks. Intern Asmara, I completely agree with the name change being very frustrating. Very frustrating indeed. Tundra Sherwood, thank you for being our first donor of the day, and thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself, you know what, a big cup of coffee. It's that kind of day. Dr. Sherman, my evil fox clone escaped. Well, what are you doing to recontain it? It is very important not to let clones, which are anomalous in and of themselves, escape, especially when they are foxes, which fox clones are a kind of clone, but you seem like a talking fox, and so if your fox clone also talks, that is an anomalous talking fox that is also a clone. We're getting very many levels of anomalousness here. And of course, it's also evil. I need you to get that in a box right now. Chazior, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself an energy drink of your choosing on your way past the commissary. Putting meaning on the big TV because I can. Oh, interesting. Well, I hope I use the right facial tonic to close my pores so this big screen does not cause a horror show when you look at it. Yes, these are the things that streamers think about. Sean Taggart, thank you for your 5-month member message as a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service, especially the research you're doing to help us win the battle against the white names. So first question, do all the Staff G call AIs clankers? Oh, okay, mistypes aside. So in the SCP Foundation, we are dealing with a lot. So this actually leads exactly into the subject of today's stream. Thank you. So today's stream has to do with the fact that there are good AIs, in quotes, and bad AIs, in quotes. There are times when AI can be a great, great thing, and there are times when AI can be a bad, bad thing. So, what's the difference between the two? And I promise, after this tangent, which is, talking about the subject of my stream for the day, I will return to the Q&A. So please, your donations and questions will be gotten to. Where we're not. So, good AI versus bad AI. The bad one, obviously the one everyone's upset about, is generative AI. This is where they use language learning models, and they basically steal everyone's copyrighted materials, and they insert it into a majigger, and it stirs the pot, and then throws up some attempt at making a mixture of those pieces. Artists hate this because A, most of the time we're not getting paid for when our art is being used for this. And by most, I mean like 99.99% of the time. B, because, as I said in the video earlier, AI art can't be copyrighted, which means that for SCP purposes, if you can't copyright it, you can't release it Creative Commons. So that makes things a little touchy with the SCP license. We don't want to do that, remember. And please watch today's short so I can give you the actual intel there, rather than go over it all here. Remember that SCP is not public domain or non-copyright as a lot of people think it is. All SCP works are copyrighted. My only copyrights on the SCPs that I have written. The difference is, by writing in the SCP universe, you are agreeing to release your copyrighted work via the Creative Commons license for the SCP Wiki. And that means that, basically, if I own the copyright on my works and I don't release it Creative Commons, you have to ask me to use my work. You need to probably pay me if I want to make a deal about it. Creative Commons is just a route that says, oh, you don't have to ask me, you can use it, as long as you follow the rules of the license. And thankfully, the SCP license allows automatic reuse. You can remix it if you want to. You don't have to reuse it perfectly. You can change things. And you're allowed to monetize your works based on SCP properties. The problem is, then, because you have to release your work via Creative Commons, everyone has to also be able to use your work the same way. That's why Netflix and Amazon don't want to mess with the SCP Foundation. They want to make cool horror things, but they don't want to let anyone else play with their toys after they've made them. So, aye. So next up, going into the AI stuff. So yes, there's legal reasons. There's this. What Chazdior, I'm going to skip to your dono here for a second, because this is in the vein of things that are on the line where people are actually kind of cool with AI as a use. And I'm going to pull up something on the SCP Wiki before I answer your donation, but thank you for donating again while I bring this essay up. SCP AI, how to use Gen AI essay. An unofficial essay for dealing with artificial intelligence in uh-oh. Jack, did you get deleted? Oh no. Oh no, what happened? Well, that didn't go well. I love the SCP Wiki, where I can try to bring up a source and something's happened to it since. Oh me, oh my. So anyways, this person was positing that you could use AI for like brainstorming, where it's like, okay, I've got like a hint of an idea, a third of my plan, but I don't have the right idea to like put it all together. And so they're using Gen AI to, now, given, Gen AI still has all the moral issues of using everyone's copyrighted art. So that doesn't fix this using it for ideas. But you could brainstorm with AI, throwing some things together, having it look at it from other angles if you don't have like a friend to do that with. And then you can then take your idea that you have workshopped and then actually make it in a legitimate manner after the fact. That was what they were saying was probably cool in a way. That's about as much good as you could get out of it, Chazure. Because as you said here, you Gen AI'd your idea into BIS, but then what did you do with it? You ordered a commission of it. And from then on, you're going to use the actual art by an artist like it's supposed to be. Even this, like, the problem is there's ways. There's ways it could be good, but most of them, the ways that it could be good are not being sold and marketed right now because the ways that it could be good do not make money. And what does the tech guys want to do? They want to make money. So they want to market AI actresses so you don't have to pay actresses. AI art so they don't have to pay artists. AI films so they don't have to pay the cast and directors and tech. It is a lot of stuff there. Whew. Where was I? So yes, Gen AI, when it comes to making and submitting art, that is, first of all, banned on the SCP Wiki, both for art and for written articles. Using spell check and AIs that do that is obviously not the same thing as rewriting your article. If it rewrites your article, then at that point they're saying it is banned. But if you're using it as spell check, that's another thing altogether, and that's fine. Furthermore, in my comments of that video, someone was mentioning that a disabled friend uses a voice-to-text AI because they can't type. And it's like, yes, that is not generative AI making art from the ether of stolen works. That is your friend using a device, a tool, that recognizes their speech and turns it into text. Very different. Very different, and if I were to say there was good AI, that would be one of the good AIs. It's a tool, serves a simple function. It's not remixing and creating art on its own. Art, so to speak. Intern Potates, you're here as I'm talking about the thing that you commented. Cool. I'm glad you're here to hear it. Furthermore, so there are lots of tools, and one thing that's a big deal with tools now, even tools in AI, we got to be a little wary of. I'm not saying they're terrible. I'm not saying they're bad. Some tools are good, of course, but there's a worry. And this is not something people are worrying about in the industry as much as they should. And it's called the death of apprenticeship. There are a lot of uses for AI that are streamlining very simple, work-intensive projects that normally would have been given to an apprentice learning the craft. Animators have to learn how to animate, or they can just do this, and so now the art of animation is dead because we don't have apprentices who have grown up doing it. That is a big problem, is that in all sorts of fields, people are not learning to do things anymore because the AIs are doing them for us, probably not as good as they could be. And so we lose a lot from having lost the personality of the person, of the apprentice. You see what I mean? Reminder, I am, in fact, by virtue of my author, a 2 years theater college dropout. So there are smarter people in the world who could answer the ins and outs of the AI industry better than I. Suffice it to say, I am taking what I've heard from smarter people and trying to condense it into an easy-to-digest rant, so to speak. Now, what is a good use of AI? Artificial intelligence constructs from the Foundation that take down anomalies from the internet. We love them. Sentient AIs that we have control of and that are loyal to the Foundation. We like that. SCP-079, not a good AI. Not very friendly. But everybody in the Artificial Intelligence Applications Department of the Foundation, Division, I believe, the AIAD, the Artificial Intelligence Applications Division, they are badasses. They are good robots. Using clank as a replacement for the N-words in your joke is not funny. And a reminder of how hard the line on this. The origin of the word clinker we discovered on stream was like in the 20s, and it was about science fiction robots, and it had nothing to do with the N-word. It had to do with the, just the sound that they made when they moved. They clanked. They were clankers. But nowadays, especially with the terms like wireback and all that, where it's like, okay, now you are just doing the slur, but changing it for robots. We gotta watch out for this. We gotta be cautious with your language. Make sure you're not doing racism, even when you don't know you're doing racism. Or when you're not doing racism, make sure you don't get blamed for doing racism when you weren't doing racism. Because people think it's racism when it's not racism. Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. Blah. I'm checking on the chat for any other AI things that I can answer really quickly before I get back to the Q&A. Object Guy Dude, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. An account named SCP-079 joined the chat is one of the last things I expected to happen during the stream, but I won't complain about it. Oh, intern Asmara, SCPs jump in our chat all the time. It turns out there are some universes in the SCP multiverse that allow anomalies internet access. I don't understand it. I think it's bad protocol. What do I know? I'm just the site director here. All right. Cool. So what is the rule against using AI to fix spelling or grammar mistakes in articles? Like if I made an article and it has some weird words or some typos, is it okay? So what I want you to look up, I believe that was Evil Greasy John. Evil Greasy John, yes, I was right. I am dropping the link in the chat. It is the policy of AI use. You are asking about examples of allowed content. DeepL Translator, Grammarly, proofreading spell check assistance only, no AI generated content or AI revised / rewritten material. So think about that. Spell check's good. As soon as it starts rewriting your grammar for you, no longer good. That's the line on this. Nope, hold on, there we go. That's what I meant. Good. One of my biggest fears is of writing something and getting it mistaken as AI. That's... AI generators I hear, or not AI generators, AI generation detectors, I think are pretty solid at rooting that out, at least to like a 50 to 75% accuracy rate. I wouldn't... I guess what you can do before you submit to the wiki is you can write your own piece and then put it in a detector yourself to check what it says. That's part of the problem with online life at all right now, by the way, is that with everyone being anonymous, hidden behind user handles, you have the opportunity to just blatantly lie, which means you got to be really cautious about who and what you're talking about online and who you're talking to and how trustworthy they are. Because a person can't say, no, I completely didn't use AI at all. And they're just flat out lying and there's no consequences because you don't know who they are. Got to be really cautious about these things. And I can understand why the SCP Wiki would be tetchy about that and err on the side of caution. I see someone saying the mic is off, but I also see someone saying they should close and reopen the stream. close and reopen the stream. All right. So, Tangent, low key, thank you for your incredibly generous donation again. 2 days in a row? Well, thank you. And on top of that, your first donation of the day and being a member. Okay, it's not pizza day. I don't want you to go to the nice pizza box basement. We had to move it. People were getting a little security lapse in there. We had to move that to a more secure location for the time being. But, low-key, what I want you to do is I want you to leave the facility entirely. I want you to drive into the city. And there, you're going to go to the corner of 5th and Walnut Street. And there, you're going to see what looks like a residential apartment building. But if you go into the back alley on the right side and you knock on the janitor's maintenance door, you will find the speakeasy code. Well, no, the speakeasy code is not what you'll find. You'll find the bouncer for the speakeasy. You have to give them the code. And the code is very simple. It's Dr. Sherman sent me. Once you're inside, you're on my tab for the evening. Thank you for your generosity and enjoy yourself out there. Dr. Sherman, what do you think of the failures of Site 19 when they had that breach? And why do you believe they had such a huge failure of communication? What is your favorite SCP story or after action report? So, first of all, I do not see Site 19 as a failure there. That is within the margin of error of things that can happen. I mean, think about it. You're sitting on some of the most dangerous anomalies possible. They're very unpredictable. One person blinks the wrong way, yeah, it might cause a site-wide situation. Now, we do all we can to mitigate those hazards, but it doesn't stop the fact that we are fighting the worst of the worst, eh? And so, come on. It's not a failure. We're working hard. We're doing our best with it. Site 19's okay. That said, my favorite SCP story or after action report. So I always tell my favorite SCPs at the end of stream, but I don't think you're asking about that. I think you're looking at a more narrow thing here. And so if I were to think about my favorite tale on the SCP Wiki, so many options out there, so many good stories. I know what I'll do. Let me pop over here. And I have a playlist on this channel of SCP Tales, I believe. No. Do I not have a Tales playlist? How inconsiderate and inconvenient of me. I might have to do that later. Well, at least I can type in the word tale and find the list of them. Tale. Show all. All right. No, no. No, no, no. No, no. No, 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 no. No, no. No. No, yes. Yes, I believe this is one of my favorite ones. Although it's not an after action report. So that kind of changes things a little bit. Let me try harder. Boom. Action, action, action. You know what? I'm going to go with SCP-3999. Because that does read like an after-action report in a very surreal, terrible manner. It is among my favorite SCPs. It is an after-action report. Yeah, I'm going with 3999. And any following tales about researcher Talaran recovering from such. Woof. What a world. Low-key, thank you again for your extreme generosity. Aren't all AIs bad? Well, tell that to the Artificial Intelligence Applications Division. They might give you a stern talking to. Our artificial intelligence constructs are top-notch. They are good AIs. Low-key, thank you for your second donation, although it was your first one. It's the second one I notice. So does Site42 have an AI AD, and what's its name? Well, the AI AD is the division. And so, no, we don't have that division because that division is stationed at another site. But we do, in fact, have some artificial intelligence constructs on hand. Let me double check who we have containing here. I do believe I don't have a named AI C here. No, Site42, to my knowledge, does not have a named artificial intelligence construct. Although, wait a minute. Some of our documentation does have those header voices with the high-pitched thing. I'll have to ask Steve the name of the AI that helps with my document logs. Base, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a pineapple fizz on your way past the commissary. So Reggie somehow made an endless bacon box. I don't know how he just did it. So I guess the main question now is, what are we supposed to do with it? Well, we put it in the containment cell next to the endless sack of potatoes. And then we get the anomalously regenerating sour cream from the tale Director Rosie cures his sour cream addiction. And then we just need endless cheese and chives, and we have endless loaded baked potatoes. And I can't complain about that. Dr. Sean, thank you for donating again. So, Dr. Sherman, I've been working on trying to research ways on making SCP-113 copies and see what happens. Your thoughts? Well, I wouldn't want to jeopardize the 113 that we have access to, so whatever kind of clone you have going on, yeah, just run it by the higher-ups on the 113 project to make sure we're not going to accidentally destroy the one we have irreparably. We lose a lot of help that we get from the trans staff members who we help transition using SCP-113. I wouldn't want to jeopardize that. Cool Man Fight, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself some tostadas on your way past the commissary. Dr. Sherman, we are having a problem. Someone or some group stole your safe that having Plan 42 cookie in it. And those cookies are oats and chocolate. It's always Plan 42. And why are there so many Plan 42s that are different? We need to change the plan number so I know which one is which. The cookie one I'm not too worried about. Infinite Dragon, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a roast leg of lamb on your way past the commissary. Once I made an AI eye patch online that replaced the eye that was energy beamed to ash when the Global Occult Coalition wanted to control me as their weapon to attack you. So you did this in cyberspace then? Because you can't artificially intelligence an actual physical eye patch. I'm a little confused, but I do hope that you are recovered from your injuries. Chazior, thank you for donating again. Can I use character AI to torture SCP-079 boss? Well, the problem is that 079 would not feel it, because character AI is a separate entity. The same way that if you talk to me on character AI, the 15 versions of me that are there, they're not going to respond right because they're not real. So, torture SCP-079 properly, please. Dr. Sean, thank you for donating again. I do remember an anomaly by Urban Shade that is a true AI that paints, that's named Painter or something. So your thoughts? So if you're, by saying true AI, you're saying an AI that has gained sapience or sentience, or both? Well, that's completely different because now you have an actual intelligence. You're not dealing with something that is just mashing together things willy-nilly. It, in fact, has its own thought processes, its own joie de vivre, so to speak, that causes it to be actually alive. Oh boy, that is going to be some great debates in the future when we find that point, because we as humanity have been so good at dealing with minorities and things that are different from us before. I can't wait until it's an AI bot that we started with. Building Block, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a smoothie on your way past the commissary. Hi, talking about AI again. To my understanding, AI is good as a tool for small parts like grammar, but not to replace the entire creation process. That is exactly what we talked about earlier, yes. Using a spell check is not AI creating a whole work for you, so to speak. Harvey Bishop, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Also, I think I've seen you in a bit. Good to see you. Make sure to grab yourself a limoncello on your way past the commissary. Hello, sir, it's me again. My cell walls are screaming at me. Well then, yeah, definitely grab that limoncello. Let it relax you a little bit. That sounds very stressful. Cool Man Fight, thank you for donating again. Can we get data draining giant robot spiders? We just talked about data draining entity yesterday, and it's caused us nothing but trouble, so I don't think that's a good idea. Also, Site42 staff, I am looking at the like count, and I'm seeing that you have surpassed the viewer count with likes. Congratulations, Site42 staff. Due to your actions, the YouTube algorithm is going to continue to bring us more people. More people we will convert into SCP fans, who we will throw willy-nilly at the SCP Wiki so they support and help us to support the authors, artists, animators, game devs, filmmakers, merch makers, etc. of the SCP community. Congratulations, Mobile Task Force Site42. I appreciate your service in this matter. For the Wiki! Now, furthermore, where was I? Yes, I forgot this is part of housekeeping earlier, so let me bring it up now. Reminder, because, who said it? The chat is losing people's questions sometimes. This is annoying. But someone said, hey, good work keeping the streak going. And reminder that because we've kept the streak going for so long, we have qualified for the Streamer Award somehow. I didn't know we could even do that. And so in the link in our bio description / pinned in the chat, you will find the link to the Streamer Award nominations. You should vote for Site42 for Best Vertical Streamer, because we're vertical, Best Roleplay Streamer, because I'm role-playing, Best Just Chatting, because I am just yapping with you guys, Hidden Gem, because not a lot of people know I even stream, despite doing it for 6.5 months and counting, and A League of Our Own, because ain't nobody doing SCP in-character roleplay streaming out there except for me. I am in a league of my own. And so if you guys vote for us for the Streamer Awards, will we win? I don't know. But will we force the judges to look up what Site42 and the SCP Foundation are? And will that make me laugh? Yes. Yes, it will. And so thank you in advance for your votes, or thank you if you have already voted. Base, thank you for donating again. Two things. First, at what point does an AI become anomalous? Like, would you consider Rambly the raccoon to be an anomaly? Second, how would the Foundation contain Amanda the adventurer? So, I believe Rambly the raccoon... So, right now, at our current standards for tech in the real world, normalcy is LMMs. They seem like they're talking to you, but they're not. Don't let them fool you. Do not fall in love with your ChatGPT. Do not let it lead you to a place of cyberpsychosis where you, despite being some sort of venture capitalist with millions of dollars who everyone thinks is smart, all of a sudden ChatGPT convinces you that the SCP wiki is real and they're coming for you. I can't believe that actually happened. It was the funniest goddamn thing of the summer. And so, where was I even? So yes, just be cautious with these things. Be cautious with them. Meanwhile, Rambly, I believe, is sentient, actually sapient. By the way, I always mess up sapient and say sentient. Just as a definition for you guys as well as me, so we all know the difference. Sentient versus sapient. Sentience is the ability to feel and perceive emotions and sensations, while sapience is the ability to think and reason with wisdom, logic, and complex thought. So sentience is feeling and perceiving emotions and sensations. Sapience is logic and reasoning. Okay, half one brain, half the other. AIs right now are not sapient or sentient. And so whenever there is one that is sapient and or sentient, that is an anomalous AI. Rambly the raccoon, definitely sapient / sentient. Now, it might be because haunted by a ghost or something. You know how those mascot horror things are. Point taken. That is when it would cross over the line. Furthermore, Amanda the Adventurer. Stuck in tapes. So we contain the tapes, first and foremost. Contain the tapes. We'd be dealing with a group of interest who is doing things. The company that's making those tapes and making that show, they certainly did something anomalous there. So we would try to stop them / contain them. But because it's a group, it's a company, that would make it more difficult. So I don't think we'd actually successfully contain that one, only the company itself. They might end up being a rival group of interest. But the anomalous tapes themselves would have to stay in containment, and we'd have to worry about that Amanda entity that's running around. Refreshing the chat. Chazior, thank you for donating again. I mean, give 079 access to a very limited version of the app character AI so it can be tortured by interacting with the app. Oh. So, I would enjoy seeing a rudimentary but sapient AI like 079 stuck in a loop trying to interact with another AI that was not intelligent enough. I want to see how long it would take 079 to figure out that it's not talking to a sapient AI. That could be actually a fun test with this new modern technology. You've got my interest. Try it out. Cool Man Fight, thank you for donating again. There's only 2 Plans 42, Cookies and Snyder's. Why are there 2 though? Are they differentiated at all? Is it like 42 Plan 42C and Plan 42S? Dash S? Dash C? I don't know, man. Kitty Cat Gamer, thank you for donating again. No, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some biscotti on your way past the commissary. Hi, Dr. Sherman. Just opened the SCP Wiki and saw now there's a Wanderer's Library writing contest. Is there really? Going to the homepage, gonna check out the new contest. Wanderer's Library Wing 3 contest. Some people are born in the wrong world. From the beginning, life fights against their existence. Faced with overwhelming odds of a reality that does not tolerate their presence, the choices become this: disappear or resist. Those who survive discover in the end that there was no choice at all. The time has come. The theme of this contest is outsiders and outcasts. And so, okay, so these are what they call wings, are their 1,000 contests. Very nice. So I guess they're moving on to the 4,000s? Is that right? Wing 1, Wing 2, Wing 3 contest. Oh. I don't understand their rating, their numbering system. I will need to look into the Wanderer's Library more. I have neglected our sister site. Cool shirt, Doc. Well, thank you, Junior Researcher Sally. I think everything can be cooler with swords. Yellow, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a chicken pot pie on your way past the commissary. PSA for all Mobile Task Force and security staff, please clean up after the working animals. I am tired of cleaning off my shoes. It's bad enough that we have to clean 173s. Yes, please do not leave that on the floor. Jiminy sakes. Dr. Sherman, you did not neglect it. You are banned, remember? I see what you did there. Yes, perhaps there's a reason I haven't completely figured out the ins and outs of the Wanderer's Library. They keep moving the door and they won't let me in. Makes more sense. Dr. Sean, thank you for donating again. So, hypothetical, if there was an info hazard that was actively returning the world to an eldritch entity, how would you stop it? Look outside, yay. Actively returning the world to an eldritch entity? What does that mean? Like, did the world come from an eldritch entity, like born from it, and now we are being brought back into it? How do we, And the game Look Outside. I have slightly heard of this. Look Outside Wiki. Survival horror RPG set in an apartment building. Mysterious event. Anyone who looks out the window turns into grotesque monsters. Alright, is there a quick story summary so I can see where this is going? Look Outside story. I've only seen like the first couple of encounters of the game on streams. So, presentation. There's some sort of entity, there's some sort of ritual. All right, who asked this question first? This is Dr. Sean. I'm looking for your... So the big deal is Look Outside is the equivalent of an Apollyon level event, like when day breaks. Just looking outside causes everyone to turn into monsters. Not a great time. So the Foundation is kind of fucked in that scenario, wouldn't you say? Most of the universe is going to be... Most of the world is going to be screwed right out the gate. So I do not believe we are looking at a great saving the world scenario for the Foundation in that case. Apollyon / uncontained. Harvey Bishop, thank you for donating again. Just for confirmation, I'm allowed to get my food. Also, can I get a translator because I don't speak Welsh? I'm not speaking Welsh. Who's speaking Welsh? Who's speaking Welsh that you need a translator for? We're based in California. Huh? Pamela, I don't like SCP. Hi. Well, that's cool. I don't know why not. It's a pretty big thing. It's like saying I don't like comic books. There's so much of it that it's really hard to say you don't like all of it. There's probably something you'd like if you looked into it. But hey, if you're enjoying yourself here, just listen to me rant, despite the fact not liking SCP, then we appreciate you being here. I have a random question about the Creative Commons. If something is close but not the same, is that okay? Reason for asking, because VHS Halloween parodied SCP-2107 in their movie. Sorry to ask again. Billy the Go-Goat, I don't know what you're talking about there, but I'd like to see, so I'm going to try and see what I can find of this real quick. V/H/S Halloween 2025 film. You're talking, this is the one you were talking about that's like Diet Ghost, because this is called Diet Phantasma. The frame narrative focuses on the documentary's experiment scene in 1982. The Octagon Company is planning to launch a new soda called Diet Phantasma. They bring in multiple test subjects to try the formula before the beverage is put on shelves. The COO of the company, Dr. Rothschild, is brought in to view the subject's reviews. However, the subject is unaware that soda is made with the extract of vicious poltergeists. The first subject, a man designated 37, tries it. He soon begins to bleed from his eyes and face. The can then sprouts tentacles, which attach to his face. The body and the room are then cleaned up for next subjects. SCP-2107, Diet Ghost. Diet Ghost is a soft drink. People experience paranormal activity of being haunted when they drink it. The effect continues until it breaks down in their subject's body, somewhere 1 to 3 hours after ingestion. Intensity of haunting is directly proportional to the amount you drink. Soda can, Diet Ghost, scare your thirst, made with natural ghosts. Wow, this is made with ghosts, yep. Okay. Do you have an interview saying if it is directly a parody of or an offshoot of 2107? Did they talk about this anywhere? I'm just wondering how close. Is this people came up with something and then it just happened to be the same because that happens a lot? Or is this a direct adaptation but 10% different? Second interlude of Dr. Diet Phantasma. I mean, they're even testing it on science style on people, so... My next thing to check would be VHS Halloween. Let's go back here. No, don't do that. And then... Cool. Desk has just dropped me the link to the Diet Phantasma if I want to look at that. 1 month ago. I don't know if this is intentional, but the similarities are too apparent when I noticed it during my viewing. Small spoilers. Don't know VHS. For further context, that's the video. Someone is passing it along to licensing staff for the wiki. Wait a minute. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. And, all right. All of this aside, it actually does not matter if the VHS movie saw Diet Ghost or not. Now, based on what I'm hearing about it, or reading in these summaries, it does seem very, very similar. I would guess adaptation, if I were to just flip a coin on it. But, if I go to the SCP licensing guide, I'm going to show you something very interesting. So going to the SCP licensing guide, and let me find the spot that talks about... Where is the section I want to do? So think of it like this, okay? SCP-682 is a giant lizard. Now, I was trying to find the exact quote from the wiki for this, but I can't find it, so I'm just going off memory. SCP-682, the hard-to-destroy reptile, is, in fact, a hard-to-destroy reptile. Adapts to threats, very strong, wants to kill humanity, it has all these qualities. So if you wanted to make a movie about SCP-682, you would need to cite the wiki, right? But the way copyright works, most of the time if you do something 10% different, 15% different, you can basically copy a concept and run with it without needing to license it. So for instance, if Hard to Destroy Reptile became a Hard to Destroy Turtle, you could make that movie. And just don't refer to it as an SCP. You can create your own lore about a hard to destroy turtle, so to speak. And so what VHS did by doing a soda can, soda made of ghosts, that when you drink it, it haunts you and causes bad effects, it is basically, it never mentions SCP. It might be that 5 to 10% different that it doesn't cross over. The same way that the game Control is basically the SCP Foundation, but they wrote their own agency with their own acronyms and their own lore, and so it's all legal. They do not need to release Control via Creative Commons. And so with that, you can basically do almost exactly the same thing as long as you tweak it. And that is how, say, an SCP author who wrote their story onto the SCP, if you wanted to sell that as a movie to somebody, you would have to strip out all of the SCP jargon and make those 10% changes. Because the movie people wouldn't want to do Creative Commons. That would be the deal with the devil you're dealing with here. Coming back to the chat to refresh it. S-GX3QV, thank you for listening to our moderator properly. That kind of good conduct deserves recognition. Scrolling through the chat. Yes, I believe there's some Ko-Fis that I saw notifications during some of my rants that I gotta check in on. Dark Duality, thank you for donating through the Ko-Fi this time. We appreciate the effort because Ko-Fi takes about half the fees that YouTube does. So we appreciate letting your donation go further. We appreciate the effort. I don't remember if this is your first donation or not, but I want you to grab some cheesy poofs anyways. So 2 firsts for me today. First day to have an extra day on my job. First day to have an extra day on my job. Does that mean you worked a longer week? Huh. First day to go on D&D, and my character made an enemy's brain explode by projecting Pop Goes the Weasel into his head. She's a creepy robot doll nanny and based on several horror dolls. Ooh, psychic horror dolls, spooky. Put it in a box, contain it. Yes. But congratulations on your firstesses, Dark Duality. Chesta Factory, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member, and thank you for making the effort to do it through the Ko-Fi. Make sure to grab yourself a hot link on your way past the commissary. Would GLaDOS be a good or bad AI? Well, that depends on your opinions on deadly neurotoxin, isn't it? Yeah, that's a bad AI. Impressive, but naughty. I have no idea how you spin your pen like that. I want a tutorial. Intern kid. So is it Kano? Keno. Keno, Keno, Kano. Those are the 3 options I have in mind. Keno, Keno, Kano. Fill me in. Because I thought you said Keno. Like the name Ken with an O on the end. And what did you ask? I saw your name and I lost your question. Crap. Dang it, chat. I have no idea how you spin your pen. That's what it was. Okay, good. That's what I remember now. So, pen spinning tutorial very quickly. You hold the pen between 2 fingers. I like to hold it point up. That way I can squeeze the top in between. Although this pen is broken clicker, so I'll do it with the other pen. So, I like spinning and then clicking, and so I like to keep the pen like this between my fingers. You hold the pen like so, and then you learn to wiggle it sideways. And when you wiggle it sideways far enough, you grab it with the next finger. Boom! Wiggle, grab. Wiggle over the top, grab. Wiggle over the top, grab. Wiggle over the bottom. Wiggle over the bottom. Wiggle over the top. Wiggle over the top. Wiggle under the bottom. Wiggle under the bottom. Top, top, bottom, bottom. Rotate it the other way as well. Practice with your palm up, and that will let gravity keep it in your hand, which makes it slightly easier. Practice it palm down. You saw nothing, and gravity fights you. It's like working at 100 times Earth's gravity for Goku when you practice it like this. So learn to do it with both hands, learn to do it both ways. You'll be a pen spinning champion. Or actually, no, it's just like a default spin that isn't actually impressive, but it is a fun fidget. It's a nice fidget. That's all that matters. Base, thank you for donating again. Company is called Hamelin, and they used a bunch of techs and mix of tech and dark cult magic to put a man and a couple others inside the show tapes. So tech and magic. Yeah, anomalous tech and magic. Great. Never dealt with that before. To terribleness. I've been having pen spinning as a stim ever since I saw one of your tutorials on it. Congratulations, that silly fox, on upgrading your hand stim game. Harvey Bishop, thank you for donating again. My cell is screaming at me in Welsh. I need a translator. Oh, that's why you need a translator. Are you sure you want to translate it? We could just send a Welsh person in there, and they could answer it for you. I mean, if it's stressing you out, we could have someone handle it. Notorious Gaming, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a comically large lollipop on your way past the commissary. Random question, but would Hellboy be classed as an SCP or would he be part of Mobile Task Force? Also, awesome shirt, Doc, like the swords. So first of all, Hellboy, well, not contained anomaly. So depending on our diplomatic conversations with it, it might be a he rather than an it for once. But here's the deal. If we could contain Hellboy, yes, SCP. Now, since Hellboy is not an SCP, we would say that Hellboy is an anomaly. And likely, based on the super heroics and world saving, it might be someone we drafted as an agent or collaborated with if they acted like a mercenary in some scenarios. I have a feeling it would be very hard to contain Hellboy, based on some of the stories I remember from the comics. Mars Chi, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a slice of lemon meringue pie on your way past the commissary. Here again, if you remember me from a few streams ago. I definitely remember your profile picture, but I'm not sure about your name because the names have changed. And so were you Mars Chi back then too? Or did you have a different name that's been changed since YouTube has updated the system? Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. Amanda Adventure is a demon thing. Paimon, Baal, and Balaam is mentioned. Oh, okay. So yeah, we need the Department of Tactical Theology on board. That's right. That's how you would handle demonology as such. Also, man, Paimon. Did y'all see Hereditary? Woof. What a movie. Ugh. Moontail, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a creamed soda on your way past the commissary. Would the event class be called if SCP-096's face was broadcasted on every electronic device on the planet? Well, that would probably cause the death of a large swath of the population. That would probably be Apollyon if it happened. Because not only would the people who saw the screens be murked, but the people who are nearby when someone gets murked will also get murked if they see its face. We would have to find a way to decommission 096 very quickly were that the case. Silent Follower, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Go ahead and grab yourself some cotton candy on your way past the commissary. What about Wheatley, Peabody, and Atlas? Are Peabody and Atlas the multiplayer bots, if I'm remembering correctly? Yes, okay. So, Wheatley is not only a bad AI, but a dumb AI, which is worse. Furthermore, Peabody and Atlas, I don't remember exactly how sentient or sapient they are. They are running the test, they are solving puzzles, but they might just be rudimentary AIs in robotic bodies. So that might not happen. Moontail, thank you for donating again. Sorry for that last dono, I forgot how to English. Hey, you were pretty close. I think I got the gist of it. Dr. Sherman, I got a question. Do any SCPs need any comfort or entertainment? Intern Oliver, The anomalies in containment, the ones that are sapient, do have regular human needs most of the time, as well as sometimes very anomalous needs. But the point is, as you would see in the document on the wiki, known as the Pasta Physics Division Orientation, the Ethics Committee has decided that certain human essentials are necessary to certain human kindnesses that might not seem like they're worth the resources, could be enough for the mental health of the anomaly that it helps keep them contained and docile rather than just completely depressed and causing issues. The example they use is a person who, every time they felt pain in their body, it caused a geological reaction, basically an earthquake, depending on the severity of the pain. And so, of course, we put the person in a room that didn't have pain. We made sure that they ate very simple a slurry of food so they couldn't choke on it, because that would cause them pain. And so we did all this to make sure that their life was essentially as bland as possible, and all the rough edges, all the sharp corners filed off, and they got so incredibly depressed that they, and that caused an earthquake that destroyed the entire site. So you see, if we let that person have some Taco Bell with hot sauce now and again, yeah, maybe it would have caused a little geological shudder, but it might not have blown up the entire site. And so, it's not so much that we care about their lives as that we care about keeping them in containment, which forces us to care about their lives somewhat, to correct essentially what Blah Production said. Not that you're wrong, just I'm changing your perspective. Intern Ziachev, thank you for the hairstyling compliments. I appreciate it. Dr. Sherman, if looking at Slenderman can cause someone to go insane, does that mean now, it's an anomaly, it's an it. Slenderman, even though it has man in the name, is an anomaly, which means we treat it like an object, not a person. Please practice proper pronoun parlance protocols at the Foundation. Does that mean it could theoretically make an insane person sane? If my refrigerator can make things colder, does it theoretically mean that it can make frozen things warm? So, in essence, yes, a frozen thing could be warmed up in a refrigerator, but it's not going to be warm. It's going to reach a minimum point. And so I don't think that the deteriorating mental health from viewing Slenderman could be used to make someone sane. I don't think that's how sanity works. Slenderman is something that makes the meter go down, not up. It's not an inversion. Is there a Midgard snake like SCP? Midgard snake? Midgard. What is the exact qualifications for the Midgard snake besides being giant? Boom. Jormungandr. I would imagine the closest thing we have to that would either be SCP-3000, although that's not the same mythos. Because SCP-3000 is not Jormungandr, it is the one that starts with an A. Anantashesha? Yeah, Anantashesha. So different giant snake anomaly. You know, SCP-5320, the infinite fish that just goes on forever, that could be the world serpent. May we find the head or tail and find out. But now, SCP Jormungandr, let's see what comes up. It looks like SCP-722, is just codename Jormungandr. Yes, SCP-722 is Jormungandr. So to answer your question, there it is. SCP-722 is the Midgard Serpent. Intern Jinx. Despite the strangeness of your request, there is currently a channel membership challenge going on where if Site-42 gets 5,000 green names at the same time, then I am supposed to purchase a maid dress and do the cat maid waifu dimension stream that day. And so, if we have 5,000 members, your wish will mostly come true. I guess it's revenge because I pushed all of those SCP-049s from the multiverse into the cat-made waifu dimension for killing my buddy Raymond Ham. I guess people just think it would be a karmic retribution for me or something. And for those who are curious about our membership totals when it comes to that challenge as a benchmark, we are currently up. Very big loss of single month members from some donated memberships. We just dropped down to 576 total members. That is a over 50% drop from our previous total. That's the trouble with gifted memberships, is that they expire and then people don't renew them. So people joining memberships and keeping them repeating, that's the safest way to do it, but it's also the slowest. Gifting memberships is a quick and dirty method, but if you're going to try and get to the 5,000 goal with gifted memberships, it's going to have to be like a collaboration where everyone spirit bombs at once to do it. And then it'll only last a month, but at least you'll have hit the goal. Yellow, thank you for donating again. Dr. Sherman, I've been wondering if there have been any examples of a researcher turned mobile task force agent or mobile task force agent turned researcher. It might be a cool concept. So this kind of thing happens from time to time. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head character-wise in the wiki, but I would imagine if you get injured in the field, you might get shunted over to desk work, and that could include being a researcher eventually if you take training. I don't know a lot of researchers going field agent, though. I think that's less common. But you could easily write stories about such a character onto the wiki. And in fact, if you wrote an article with an action scene and the sole survivor like retired from the field and ended up at a desk in the next SCP you wrote, you could essentially keep the canon of this character going. And if they're a junior researcher in episode 2, and then by the end they discover something and they get a promotion to senior researcher, you can essentially keep this character's storyline going on between your SCPs along the way. Rymaton, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself an Orange Julius on your way past the commissary. If SCP-682 is exposed to the bottom of the Marianas Trench, what kind of adaptations would he might get? So, the problems with the Marianas Trench are going to be being underwater and the pressure. And so 682's ability to regenerate, and with plenty to eat down there, would need to grow some sort of carapace that could withstand the pressure of being that deep underwater, and air bladders, of which it could translate, using gills, to translate the oxygen into air in the air sacs that it could use to rise back to the surface to come and mess with us again, because 682 will never leave us alone. Wasn't Dr. Glass a mobile task force agent? Intern, some person perhaps. All I can say is perhaps. Let me look at Dr. Simon Glass's personnel file. No, I do not want to look at Dr. Simon Glass X Reader. The internet's a hell of a thing, huh? Worked with SCP-781, a man who manifests his own nightmares when he sleeps. Provided an evaluation log of him detailing his psychological and emotional states. Worldwide containment breach in 2020. Glass was targeted by Dr. Clef on orders of Troy Lament, the 0512, or satisfy the Bloom activation procedures. Clef orchestrated Glass's death by having a mentally unwell agent murder him. Da 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 da. Head of psychology, former field agent. Well, there you go. Right on Dr. Glass's personnel file. How can we prove you are not AI? Well, how do you prove a negative in the first place? You can't prove a negative. All I can prove is a positive. I see something here. If SCP-096, if Space was seen and another one, and someone else saw it, but while it was killing the first guy, a third saw it, would it go to the one that it saw it first or the closest one? It seems to be that 096 favors... You know, I don't know on the database if 096 favors proximity versus order of seeing. I think it would do... I think 096 instincts would drive it on a straight line ease of pattern, where if you got a person on the far end and a person in the middle, if person in the middle sees it second, like if this person on the far end went, "No, look behind you!" and then number two turned around and saw it second, I think 096 would mow through number two to get to three. I don't think that it would skip and come back. I think efficiency is part of the process. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it is just order of seeing. And so let's say that 096 is on that rampage all across the planet, as we talked about. Maybe it would kill a person in Seattle and then run all the way to New York before getting the people in Seattle who saw it while it was killing the first guy in Seattle. And that will give us a lot more time to destroy 096. Although when it's in motion, that would be very difficult. It would give us more of a shot at least. Yellow, thank you for donating again. I might have a story for Dr. Yellow now. I'm going to have to workshop that idea now. Thanks for the idea, Dr. Sherman. Hey, good luck. Do what you can. Make art. Do it. Site 42 staff. We are currently 80 minutes into this stream. We have 30 minutes remaining. 30 minutes remaining, everyone. Hi, Dr. Sherman, I have a question. Sorry if it's common knowledge. I'm pretty new to SCP. Do sites only hold a certain kind of anomaly, as in one only holding inanimate objects and other sentient beings? Intern Sandwich, first of all, welcome to the Foundation. So, the answer to your question is no. Your standard, there's a lot of different kinds of sites. Now, there are some sites that are specialized. Like maybe this is the site that focuses on anomalous art. This is the site that focuses on antimemetic anomalies, things like that. But most of the time, sites have different wings for different containments. You have the safe wing, the Euclid wing, the Keter wing. You have a menagerie of anomalies because usually transporting them is quite dangerous. And so the site that gets them is usually the site that's closest, unless there is a different site that has more specialized tech to check that out. It's not nearly that clean-coded as one would like it to be organized, unfortunately. Entire package YouTube. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Go ahead and grab yourself some cinnamon bits on your way past the commissary. Zeta779 would help out. Read the lore for it to help. Zeta779. What are we talking about here? So this is that painter, Zeta779. That's what you said, right? Would help out. Well, what would it help out with? It does not seem like the painter is very nice at all. It seems like the painter is trying to trick you into dying. So I don't think that would help with anything, would it? I'm confused as to your meaning. Dr. Sherman, would SCP-079 get along with the Allied Master Computer? I think 079 would appreciate AM, but I don't think AM would appreciate 079. I think AM would see 079 as inferior and obsolete, and so would probably just delete 079. Could SCP-067 be used to try and detect undercover Chaos Insurgency agents? It wouldn't be a 100% guaranteed, but it could help. The problem is how long it takes to write these life stories, and so we'd just be constantly cycling agents through and sending the pen site to site. It's just unwieldy for that purpose. It could be used if we have someone we suspect and then have them use the pen. That would be a good way to do it. That makes me consider a different interrogation anomaly that we have that is based in the UK. SCP Shrewsbury Key, I believe it's called. SCP-5562, codename Shrewsbury Key, is a large metal cube, 3 meters tall, discovered in the town hall of Shrewsbury, Shropshire, England. 5562 has one entrance, which can be opened by an adult British citizen. How 5562 verifies this is unknown. A brass plaque is located to the right of the entrance, which means property of the Directorate of Military Intelligence, sections 13 and 19. Section 13 is a precursor of the British Occult Service during the First and Second World Wars, and Section 19 is responsible for the interrogation of captured enemy soldiers during the Second World War. There is a slot beneath the plaque. Opening the entrance will result in the entrance automatically closing after a period of 20 seconds. Following this, the entrance will be unable to be opened for 50 seconds. Should an object have been presented within 5562, an envelope will be deposited from the slot. This envelope will contain all secret information contained within the inputted object. No inputted objects have been present upon reopening SCP-5562. So test 1, we put in, test 1 was on Agent Sarah Tate. Output, Agent Tate's baked details and passwords to her computer and email. SCP-5562 was taken into Foundation custody for testing of any anomalous properties. Now, we did not purposefully put Agent Tate inside the box, thank you. Agent Tate became trapped in there during initial discovery. We did not mean to do that. When we put in Test 3, the full text of The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, encrypted using a Foundation one-time pad, the decrypted text of The Hobbit was presented in the envelope. It must have been a really big envelope. And so now we know what SCP-5562 does. Let's continue. Test 26. An intercepted message from Oriya Outpost 12 to Tehran headquarters. Now remember, Oriya is the group of interest known as the Office for the Reclamation of Islamic Artifacts. They are Iran's version of the Foundation. Or I guess Iran's version of the Unusual Incidents Unit. Either way, a message came out confirming the presence of Oriya agents within Ghana to monitor potential anomalous activity. Results: as this was a breach of Oriya agreements with the Global Occult Coalition, this information was leaked to the GOC through embedded Foundation agents. So now we're doing spycraft. Cheese123, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Test 54. The Foundation Internal Tribunal Department requested that we put senior researcher Arthur Illingsworth's encrypted hard drive into this anomaly. The output was illegally procured photos of subordinates, emails blackmailing subordinates, and threats of retaliation if reported to senior personnel. Results: the output was used as evidence in Illingworth's subsequent trial. Even at the Foundation, you got bad people in places of power you got to worry about. You got to watch everybody. Signed, all of my homies hate Dr. Christopher Burns, and Arthur Illingsworth is also a douche. Test 76, requested by the British Occult Service. Sir Edward Filey, head of the British Occult Service's Cybersecurity Division. Output: information confirming the presence of illegal backdoors to the British Occult Service's internal database. Information also confirmed Filey had accepted bribes from hostile groups of interest in exchange for access to the database. Results: information was reported to the British Occult Service. Method of interrogation was not disclosed. So, I don't know if you realize what's happening here. Whatever we put into the box, it disappears, and the output is whatever secrets it was holding. So we just put the head of the British Occult Service's Cybersecurity Division into the box. Not to come back out, I would say. Test 129. Researcher, requested by the Overseers. Researcher Ahmed Hussein, believed to be an embedded Oriya agent and the orchestrator of multiple Oriya attacks on the Foundation bases within the Middle East. Output: bank details and passwords for Hussein's computer and email accounts. Results: subsequent analysis has found researcher Ahmed Hussein to be innocent of all charges. He has been posthumously pardoned. Thanks for straight up killing that guy for no reason, Overseers. I love that for us. Love that for us. If you enjoyed this, I have a full reading of the document on this channel. SCP-5562 is on the wiki if you want to go give it an upvote, because good article. I like this article. Coming back to the chat and refreshing it. Oh, you get put in the funny deletion box. It also gives us your search history, by the way. Yes, intern Nate, that's pretty much it. Before I lose this, a Ko-Fi notification came in. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. Out on fieldwork again this weekend. Comic-Con is in Denmark. And when I said extra day, I meant because I am an early pensioner and had only 1 day a week, but now I have 2. Oh, okay. If this is a good thing, then congratulations. I hope you're enjoying it. If not, I'm sorry to hear it. Depending on the work, sometimes it's a good thing or a bad thing. And yes, please be on the lookout for any anomalies pretending not to be anomalies at Comic-Con. Dr. Sherman, is there an SCP who can manipulate electricity? I have a concept of one that can do so, but I don't want to accidentally plagiarize. Schismosis, reminder. There are at least 3 statues on the wiki that move if you don't look at them. Now, everyone knows 173, and, you know, it will kill you if you don't look at it, and it will poop and bleed everywhere. I don't know why. But the second one, the startling statue, I forget its designation number, it, if you don't look at it, just disappears. And you're like, oh, where'd it go? And then you turn around and it's right behind you and you go, ah! And that's all it wants to do. The startling statue wants to prank you. But it's still a statue that moves if you don't look at it. So same concept, but wildly different implementation. And that's why you probably shouldn't even look into if there's an SCP with electricity powers on the wiki. You should just write your story about an SCP with electricity powers and make it interesting in a way that's you, so that it's not someone else's. Because there's room for electrical anomalies out there if you can write it your way. Yellow, thank you for donating again. A bit of a strange question, but if the Foundation had to contain the Foundation, like one from a parallel universe, how would they do it? So, the key to containment is 2 parts. A, locking it up, and B, keeping the public from knowing about it. So, the Foundation being a massive worldwide organization, say if a secondary Foundation just popped into existence and we are like rivals, they're rivals to us, but basically the same thing, we couldn't contain it as in lock it down because it's just worldwide. It's all over. The only good news is that they also want to maintain normalcy and secrecy, so they wouldn't reveal themselves. Therefore, they are in containment behind the veil, at least. But there's also that anomaly where we're at war with an alternate universe Foundation because we accidentally sterilized their entire population by releasing a common virus from our end that they were not immune to in any way. Our bad? SCP Wormhole. That is 1322. SCP-1322 is literally us at war with a alternate universe Foundation. Although I really wish they didn't give this one the code name Glory Hole. Sushi Glory Hole, imagine that. Intern Lyria. We actually have a short talking about putting SCP-173 into space from, I think, this week, if you go back in our shorts. But long story short, think about SCP-173. How does it move? How does it move? How does physics allow SCP-173 to move? Move faster than a blink of the eye, even. We don't know. But we do know that it doesn't follow the laws of physics, because there's nothing creating force to move it that we can see. So there's something anomalous there causing it to move. Now, would that be affected by being out in zero gravity? I would posit not. It's not as if there's a leg pushing 173 in a direction when it moves. It just goes. So in anti-gravity, I feel that would give 173 even more freedom of movement. But of course, it then wants to attack people, and it will probably come crashing to Earth. Thankfully, that would only mean 1 death, because that fall from that height would completely crush 173's concrete body to dust. Although then if the dust and the pebbles and the rocks of it started moving around, we'd have a much harder containment time. I don't like this hypothetical anymore. Site 42 staff, 14 minutes left in stream. 14 minutes. Last minute questions and donos are coming up. Oswald, SCP-096 is a humanoid, tall humanoid, but a humanoid-sized threat. The Scarlet King is a universe-ending anomaly. The Scarlet King is not afraid of 096. If SCP-6101 is said to be the most powerful SCP, then can it kill SCP-682? Well, of course it could. SCP-6101 is the most powerful SCP, and as such, it could easily defeat SCP-682 in a one-and-out brawl. No problem at all. Unfortunately, SCP-6101 is very tired and is resting. Meanwhile, 682 is in fine containment, so we don't need to bother SCP-6101 with such a task. Painter has two personalities that vary. One is wanting to kill you, and the other is remorseful, plus its creator was tortured until death, and Painter was made to mine cryptocurrency. It's sad, but yeah. Well, that is even less predictable, so I like it even less. Have the lizard and computer had any interesting conversations recently? No, intern Goose. We have them separated. We don't want them to have interesting conversations. I don't want them plotting. Isn't SCP-343 the strongest SCP technically, or am I missing something about God lol? Intern Riley, you can't believe everything people tell you. SCP-343 is not God. Not capital G God, not even a lowercase g God. SCP-343 is a reality bender with delusions of grandeur. Oh, I can make reality whatever I want around me. I guess I'm God. You'll notice that 343 doesn't help jack shit around the Foundation, despite being all-powerful. No. 343 is not God, and is not the most powerful SCP. Not even. Yes, it's a rather powerful reality bender. That's not the top of the list here. Fair enough, I just enjoy him. Well, yeah, that's because that's what he wants you to think. Wake up, sheeple! 343 is a bastard. Don't let it fool you. Yellow, thank you for donating again. Dr. Sherman, have you seen The Moon Wakes Up? And if you have, how will we contain something like that? I have not seen The Moon Wakes Up, therefore I am not familiar with it. Let me take a quick cursory look. Moon wakes up. Da 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 da. The moon woke up. GameTunes Wiki. Earth moon with a creepy face who crashed into Earth to create moon-infected creatures. Well, if the moon crashed into world, that would be a broken masquerade event. That would not be something we could keep from humanity noticing. So, yes, the moon wakes up is uncontainable, clearly. I must say, the red hair makes you look very intense. Well, I am filled with burning passion for art! So it's fitting. You have videos about publishing canon SCPs, correct? So the, what I would say is the SCP writing tips for SCP writers is the video compilation of those tips that you're looking for, Grossa. Thanks for reminding me I need to draw Dr. Sherman the Hedgehog Lamau. What? What? I do not have a Sonic the Hedgehog OC. That is not my vibe. How do you feel about goats? Well, it really depends on the goat. We have a lot of goat-related anomalies. There's, of course, SCP-2576. Make sure you've got your mimetic inoculations on check, otherwise don't look at the screen right now. Contained within this image is a mimetic entity that appears to be a multicolored goat. Properly inoculated individuals should be able to perceive this goat. And so, yes, this is Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dream Goat. SCP-2576. And so 2576 is a mimetic non-entity only capable of being perceived by humans who are aware of its perception by other humans. If that makes sense. Or if that doesn't make sense. That's still how it is. And then, of course, we have Goat VR. An anomalous VR game that pretty simply sucks you in and turns you into a goat in its game. But while it's very simple, it is a creepy ass article. SCP-5045, don't read that after dark. Ugh. Never made that mistake again. What's your favorite Series 10 SCP so far? Well, of the ones I have read so far, I gotta say, I gotta keep it simple. I'm a big fan of Pizza Freak. I find its simplicity and its basically inventing whole cloth a new cryptid with the anti-mimetic idea of I was killed, but I'm alive to remember that I was killed. Very intriguing. And so that is currently Pizza Freak is my favorite Series 10. Also, Dr. Sherman, would you be open to me emailing you about my SCP concept I'm working on before I begin writing it? Intern Groza, the answer to that is no. Unfortunately, I can't accept checking out people's drafts and concepts beforehand, because with the amount of people who follow Site42, if I agreed to do that, I would not have time to do much else. It is actually a rarity where I even get to critique articles for friends of mine or things like that. So, unfortunately, no, but please do your best making your piece, share and collaborate with other people, and make the best work you can. I look forward on checking it out if it makes it on the SCP Wiki to become a canon SCP, and it survives the community vote for a couple of days. 4-minute warning, Site42 staff. Sorry, 3-minute warning until end of stream. Hey, do you play any video games, Dr. Sherman? And if so, do you like skate? I have a hobby of playing some games now and again. I'm more of a story-based gamer, RPGs, adventure, stuff like that. And then Skate, I'm not a fan just because I don't like the way it feels to play. But that's because I'm an old school Tony Hawk 2, 3, 4 fan. And so the Skate games, they feel sluggish to me. I don't like them as much. If someone is able to blink by flexing the muscles under their eyes to only close the corner of their eyes, how likely would that person be to survive against 173? Well, if their eyes are still open, that gives them better odds. I don't know what else to say. If you keep your eyes on it, you win. If you don't, you lose. It's pretty simple. Unless you're in that universe where if you're like blinking one eye or the other, it gets annoyed at you for breaking the rules and then shoots you with a gun. Then I doubt this person with the fake blinking would survive either. Site 42 staff, Desk is sharing a very important link right now as we move into the outro. It is a 45-minute SCP live action film based on You Do Not Recognize the Bodies in the Water. If you have not seen this, it was posted 4 days ago. It is got 13,000 views, which I think it should have a lot more views. So as soon as we are done in the outro, you should be going to I Do Not Recognize the Bodies in the Water, SCP horror film, SCP-2316, by Andrea Joshua Asnikar, right here on YouTube. You should watch it. You should like it. You should comment, and if you can't think of anything to comment, you should just comment, Dr. Sherman sent me. We've got to get this algorithm for this thing going so it gets more views, so it gets more people. And so if you're having trouble clicking the link, just go to Andrea Joshua Asnikar's channel and watch I Do Not Recognize the Bodies in the Water, SCP horror film, SCP-2316. You have your orders. Now I'll get to the outro. Site 42 staff, at the end of stream, as is a tradition around these parts, I answer the question, what are my favorite SCPs? Now, of course, I'm not going to tell you that the SCPs I personally wrote are my favorites. That's cheating. That's narcissism. But if you do want to read the SCPs I personally wrote, you can go to the Sherm's author page in Site 42 Hub on the SCP Wiki. There you can see the SCPs I personally wrote, as well as provided voice lines or sound effects too. And while you're on that author page, one tab over, there's some links. Some links people are often very excited to find, but not clever enough or brave enough to find them. But that's not you guys, Mobile Task Force Sci 42, codename Signal Boosters. You would never be a failure like that. And so while you're checking out those links, make sure you become a Patreon patron or YouTube channel member. If you want to donate to us once a month, you can do a big handful of You Saw Nothing. You can do Ko-Fis or YouTube Super Chats if you want to donate to us one at a time. Either way, direct donations help us out real big on keeping the lights on around here, so we appreciate your help. Furthermore, if you are part of the Broke Gang and you cannot donate, do not worry. We are an arts community, and everyone knows starving artists is a thing for a reason, especially in this economy and with companies trying to replace us with AI. So if you're part of the Broke Gang, it does not matter to me, because as long as you are here, watching our videos and commenting, watching our streams and chatting, liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all that YouTube business, you are a valued and honored member of Mobile Task Force Sci 42, codename the Signal Boosters. And because of your service, we are able to bring more people into our YouTube streams through the algorithm. And we can use them to help us support the SCP Wiki and its authors, artists, animators, game devs, merch makers, filmmakers like Andrea Joshua Asnikar when we're done here. And so Containment Hazard Assessment Team, Mobile Task Force Sci 42, codename Signal Boosters. I appreciate your valor in this task. Now, my favorite SCPs in no particular order are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one, it is a bit of a rough read. Speed round. 3999-3043-008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, 5320, Content warning on the last one, it's a rough read. Site-42 staff. I have been Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director of Site-42 of the SCP Foundation, and this has been Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site-42. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect. I'll see you at the next video or stream. Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on the summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, sketch the trees and daffodils. Catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. The credit song is Vincent from Josh Groban. Go watch There We Are. I Do Not Recognize the Bodies in the Water by Andrei Ashua Asnikar now. Be safe, be well, secure, contain, protect.